Hey guys, this lesson is going to go over markups. Now you will need a calculator for this lesson. Okay, so I want you to kind of think about, well, how does a store actually make money when they sell items? So think about that for a second. All right, well, in order for a store to make money, they have to charge the customers more for the item than they actually paid for it. So let's say that a store is selling t-shirts, okay? And when they bought the t-shirts, they cost $8. Now, when they sell them to their customers, they cannot charge the customers only $8 because they won't make any money. So they mark up the price by a certain percent. So maybe they mark the price up, let's just say they mark it up $10, and they sell it for $18. Okay, now they're making a profit of $10 per t-shirt. Okay, so in order to make money, stores have to mark up the items that they're selling. So that's what a markup is. So in order to find, let's say, this is what we're going to kind of be doing today. So we're going to know what the stores pay for an item, and we're going to know what percent they're going to mark it up. We want to figure out, well, what are they going to sell it to us for? Okay, so in order to find the selling price, here's what we need to know. We need to know, well, what did the store actually pay? That's called the wholesale price. Plus, we need to know, well, how much did they mark it up? Did they mark it up $10? Did they mark it up $15? And then we'll be able to find the selling price. All right, in order to solve some markup problems, we're going to be using a proportion, or you can use an equation, but I'm going to start with proportions. So when you're setting up a proportion, here's what you kind of need to know. On top of the 100 is going to be the percent of markup. So what percent the store actually marks their price up. And again, that's always going to go over 100 because a percent is out of 100. Across from the 100 is going to go to be the original cost to the store. And think about that. That's 100% of the price of the item. That's going to come down here. On the top, across from the percent of markup is going to be the actual amount of the markup. Okay, so we're going to use proportions like that to solve some problems. And I'll show you how that works on our next page. All right, here's our problem. It says a store, they pay $70 for a bike. Okay, so that's what the store actually has to pay. In order to make money, they have to mark up the price. So they're going to mark it up 20%. I want to know, well, what are they going to sell it for? Okay, so here's how I'm going to do that. First I need to figure out, well, how much money did they mark it up? I know they marked it up 20%. That's not $20, it's 20%. I have to figure out, well, how much money did they actually mark it up? All right, so first thing, your percent of markup goes over 100. So I'll put 20 over 100. And I'm just going to remember here that that's the percent of markup. Okay, so it's a markup. That means the price is going up. Okay, the original cost to the store is 70. I want to know, well, how much did they mark it up? So across from here, this X, that's the markup price. Okay, so just keep in mind, it's the markup percent over here and the actual markup over here. Okay, so now I'm going to cross multiply. 100 times X is 100X. And then I'm going to do 20 times 70, which is 1,400. And then my last step is to divide by 100. Okay, when I do that, 1,400 divided by 100, I end up with $14. Okay, now that is the markup, okay? That is not what the store is going to sell it for. Doesn't even make sense. They wouldn't sell it for $14. So to find what the store is going to sell it for, I need to take the cost to the store. So the store had to pay $70 for it, so they at least have to charge $70. Plus, I'm going to add the markup. They're going to mark it up $14, so they're going to sell it for $84. That's what you and I would have to pay if we went to the store to buy it. Okay, so that was an example of a 20% markup. So again, we just raised the price by 20%. Okay, let's try another one with a proportion. All right, so a store pays $75 for an aquarium, and they're going to mark it up 70%. I want to know, well, what are they going to sell it for? Okay, so I'm going to come down here and set up a proportion. So first thing, I know that they're marking it up 20%. So I'll put 20 over 100. And then again, I just like to remember that this is the percent of markup. So across from that is X. That's how much money it's going to get marked up. And the original price the store paid is $75. Okay, I'm going to cross multiply. I get 100X equals, I'm going to do 75 times 20, which is 1,500. Okay, I'm going to divide by 100 on both sides. And I end up with X equals 15. Okay, now remember, this is a markup. So again, I was looking, if I had the percent of markup, now here's my actual markup. So I'm going to come fill in these blanks up here. So the cost to the store had to pay $75 for the bike. So when they sell it to us, or not the bike, the aquarium, when they sell it to us, they at least have to charge $75. They're going to mark it up $15. So when they sell it to us, we're going to add these two things, 75 plus 15, and they're going to sell it to us for $90 because they have to make a profit. The reason they need to make a profit is they have to pay their employees, they have to make money so that they can keep the store open. All right, so that's how you solve markup problems. All right, so we can also solve these problems using an equation, which I know some of you like to use, so that's why I'm showing some examples of this. So to find a markup, so the amount of markup, and that again, that's kind of the money part, I have to do the percent of markup times the original cost. So let's look at this example. I want to know, well, how much am I marking it up? So I'll call that X. In order to find that, I can do the percent, which is 7%. I better change that to a decimal, 0.07, times the original cost to the store was $85. That's going to give me the markup, how much money they got to mark the price up. So I'm going to do 85 times 0.07, and I end up with X equals $5.95. Now again, that's your markup. So if I want to figure out the selling price, I'm going to do 85 plus $5.95. Okay, so if I add those together, the store is going to sell it to the customers for $90.95. All right, so that's how you could do it with an equation. So just kind of remember when you're doing these equations, to find, this is kind of like a part, the markup is a part, you always do the percent times the whole or the original cost. That'll give you the part you're marking it up. Let's try another one with an equation. So the cost of the store is $300, and I'm going to mark it up 28%. So I want to know, well, what am I going to mark it up? So to find my markup, I can do the percent, which is 0.28, times the whole cost, which was $300. That'll give me the part I'm marking it up. So 0.28 times 300, that gives me 84. So my markup is $84. Now, that might seem like kind of a lot to you, but the price is $300. 28% of that, that's kind of a lot of money. So it's going to mark it up $84. So the cost to the store, or if I was going to go buy it at the store, is $384. You always got to go back and add it. All right, so that's how you could do it with an equation. Now, I just want to show you guys real quick another way to kind of think about this. So if I'm kind of thinking about this, as a customer, I'm paying 100% of what the store pays, plus I have to pay an extra 28% of the price. So really, what percent am I paying? Well, let's think about it. I'm paying 100% of what the store paid. That was the $300. Plus, I'm paying an extra 28%, which is that $84. Really, that total percent I'm paying is I'm paying 128%. I'm paying over 100% of the price. Okay, and that ends up being that $384. So another way that you could solve this, I'm just going to kind of show you real quick, is if you're doing it the equation way, you could do, to find the new price, you could do the percent. Let's use 128%, move it back twice, 1.28, and you could times it by the original price, 300. Now when I type that in, I end up with $384, and that's my new price. Again, I got this from paying 100% of the price plus an extra 28%. Okay, so you may use that way if you want. You don't have to. We'll go over that way more in class on Tuesday when I'm back. All right, I want you to go ahead and try this one on your note sheet, and you can try it any way that you want to, the equation or the proportion. Push pause, try it, and then once you're done, push play to check to see if you have it correct. All right. Okay, let's check this one out. I'm going to do it with the proportion. So if you set up a proportion, the markup is 30%. That goes over 100. The original cost was $215. I want to know how much am I going to mark it up. So when I do that, I get 100x equals, I'm just doing my diagonals, 215 times 30 is 64.50. And then I'm going to divide by 100. And I get $64.50. Okay, now that's just the markup, remember. So to find the final price that somebody's going to have to pay at the store, you need to do the original cost, $215, plus here's how much they're marking it up, $64.50. So when I add that together, I end up with $279.50. That's what the store is going to sell it for. Okay, hopefully you kind of understand how this works, and we will continue to practice this.